Hello and welcome to the Matthew Alton Art channel again. Another time-lapse video this evening. I was catching up on Raw Umber Studios sessions that I've missed over the last week or so. My subscription runs out early-ish April, so I'm trying to get all the ones done that I've done that have been on while I've been joined. It's a live drawing session, this one, with a very difficult pose, as you'll see as the drawing develops. Lots of foreshortening and limbs all over the place, so quite a difficult one to do correctly. You can see that I'm working on white sketchbook paper, A4 it is, and I'm using a mechanical pencil. I think with a sort of HB lead or a bit harder than I normally use recently anyway. I've been using 5Bs and 8Bs, so this is what was left. The problem with mechanical pencils is the leads break, so when they break I save them. Obviously I don't want to waste the whole lead just because it's broken, and I'm not always sure which softness it is when I put it in. So you can begin to see that this lady who's posing in the photograph of the session is leaning back on her buttocks, and her arms are in the air and her legs are in the air. So there's all sorts of angles to contend with going on here. The tutor in this session was using pencil as well, and it was about using cross hatching to indicate shape and also sort of pointing out where the light is coming from, so where the focus of the drawing is by using light and shadow. I'm not sure I did a particularly good job on this one. It's okay. I mean, already a few minutes in, this would be, I've got sort of the actual pose fairly accurately. But it's quite a complicated one to do, really. I don't know if you noticed when I started out, I just drew a box basically for the extreme proportions of this figure. So the extreme left, where the shoulders and the head is a bit further than the shoulders over on the left there, and the foot on the right. I think it's important with a pose like this to do that, because you can end up with bits going off the edge of the paper if you don't proportion everything correctly first. And then I fitted the figure into that box. All the while I'm looking for angles, so when I was drawing the angles of the arms, for instance, I was sort of transferring them mentally from the photograph we were using in this session onto the page, looking for relative positions of things as I do. So as I've talked about it many times before, I sort of triangulate the pictures into being by looking at where everything is in relation to everything, the angles that are formed, that sort of thing. Just trying to indicate a shape for the hands here, really. It's more about just trying to do a quick life drawing session with lighting. You can see there I'm sort of erasing a little bit under the arm because there is a reflected shadow on this pose. The light's coming from above and to the left. Trying to put in some detail on the face. It's not a portrait this at all, it is a live drawing, but you'll see I'll return to that in a minute to get it sort of semi-human looking. I'm getting a bit carried away with the details on the hands here, and return and sort of erase them to some extent in a minute. I have to say, with all this practice, I'm amazed at how I can sort of get a face to appear on a model this size when it's so small. It's about 1 inch square, if that, the actual face on this model. I have to say the pose looks very uncomfortable, but I think it probably was quite uncomfortable for the model as they were sitting there, to be fair. It doesn't really look very natural. Difficult to get the weight of the body looking right on a pose that's really quite unnatural looking like this. I certainly haven't quite got that far arm sitting right, and the shoulder, that far shoulder. But I'm being picky. Overall, by the end, it's okay for the hour that it was, as I say. The legs are quite foreshortened, so they look a bit strange. They're sort of pointing a bit out towards the viewer, towards the right hand side. Just putting on some shadow on the ground there, just so that it grounds the pose really, and that's it, just about done. Well, this is the final drawing. Overall, quite pleased with it, considering it's such a difficult pose, and it only took me about an hour. Just under an hour, I think. The sessions are only an hour, so I only stick to the session length, as I've said before. Fairly successful, I think, really. But as I say, it's quite an awkward looking pose, really, so it doesn't work brilliantly for me, I have to say. But I tried. Thank you for watching. If you've got to this stage of the video, thanks for being so patient. Do like the video if you did like it, and do subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to grow the channel to get it monetized at some point, so every watch minute counts, and every like and every subscribe counts. Okay, well, I will see you on the next one. Thanks very much, and goodbye.